Hello and welcome. I'm Maria Ressa. This is Rappler Talk. I'm fascinated by what we're going to be talking about now. With me is Father Edu Gariguez. He's the Executive Secretary and the Country Program Head of Caritas Philippines. He's also one of our partners for many of the things we're looking at because he holds the youth in his hand. So let's start with a big, broad topic of we're really at a place of change in the Philippines right now. Change is here, kamo nga ho, no, di ba? So how would you describe the Philippines today, Father Ed?
I think the way to describe the Philippines is that we are very much confronted with so many challenges. As one working for development, one very big challenge that we still face is the issue of poverty. So people are poor, and I think we need to address the issue of poverty, no matter who is in the government, and even as church worker, this remains to be one very challenging issue for us. And even for the Philippine Church, we are actually called or mandated to exercise ministry for the poorest of the poor. We need to be Church of the Poor. That's the actually the blueprint for the renewal of the church in the Philippines. So that's one important, still very relevant challenge
Yes.
For us today. And with that, and we also see that, and this is also the statement from the Pope, that poverty is somewhat related even to the issue of the environment.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
cry of the earth is the cry of the poor.
Yes.
The issue of climate change is very much abound. And even in the church, this is also one of our major concerns. Even the Pope has written one of the major encyclicals about the climate change.
And you've done significant work. I mean, there's a 3-year plan that you've done for the victims of Yolanda, the rehabilitation
Yes,
program,
and because climate change is very much related also to the extreme weather events, so you see how things are connected. And we work also among the victims, survivors of the Haiyan disaster in 9 dioceses actually. So this task of how we recover from this disastrous calamity is still very much part of this challenge for us. Not only for the church, but even for the whole Philippines. And how to be more resilient. I mean, for the people to be more resilient, because every now and then, it's a fact of life because of
Yes.
climate change that we will be visited by typhoons and other disasters.
Do you see anything changing in the last 5 years or so? I mean, so we know Typhoon Haiyan in 2013 really the worst in the world, and it landed here in the Philippines. But in terms of our people, in terms of this new generation, is there anything that you're seeing that's changed that either makes your work easier or harder?
One positive thing that I notice is that people are becoming more mindful of these issues, and even people at the barangay level would have this disaster risk reduction management, even in their at their level. So
Yes.
I think that the consciousness of the people as to addressing disaster and being prepared to face it uh, is increasing than before. But at the same time, I think we need not to be complacent about it, because there are still so many things that need to be done as to the preparedness issue.
So what is your main priority as Caritas right now?
As Caritas or National Secretariat for Social Action, we have three main priorities actually, because we are the advocacy, we are the development, and at the same time the humanitarian arm of the church.
CBC.
So
Yeah.
we do emergency response, but at the same time we are engaged with development programs. That's why the issue of poverty would be one of our priorities too. And also in advocacy, we try to address important justice issue, and also how to come into the root cause of the problem. So even in the climate campaign. We try to possibly get down into the root cause of environmental degradation.
In terms of poverty, the root causes.
In
How
terms
do
of
you approach
poverty,
this?
yes, we have programs on agrarian reform because you cannot address poverty, particularly in the countryside, without addressing the issue of landlessness. People are poor because they do not have actually land. So poverty is a social justice issue. And that's why we do not only give charity, but we need to address the, the, the root cause of why people are poor.
Last night I interviewed one of the tech visionaries in Silicon Valley who talked about how technology could help a country like the Philippines leapfrog development. And do you see any of this, or is this far out for a country like the Philippines?
I see so many positive things about the use of technology, even in the way we tell the good news, we evangelize.
We
This is very
communicate,
positive. We
yes.
communicate, um, and even in doing development work, people get more connected, and people are getting more access um, to helpful information. People are being educated of the technology, even agriculture, and even in the campaigns that we do. Globally, we become connected. So the issues that poor people would advocate for in this particular part of the world would always be related to other important concerns in the other part of the world. So technology has a way of bringing people together, or uh, providing us with more needed information, and all those are positive advantages of having this communication technology.
I want to follow up with the church, right? The church in the Philippines today, in terms of how it communicates with the younger generation. This generation is quite different.
Yeah, yes.
Different from our generation. I will say our, right?
Yes, yeah.
And I think part of that is because of the technology that they consume.
Yes.
How does the church talking to this new generation? How is it giving meaning to this new generation?
Technology really is part of the big challenge that we face, even in the church, because even for the young generation, they are not the same generation as we used to be. I mean, even in the way they communicate, and that is a challenge for us on how do we reach out to them.
Yes.
So I think we need to read that's the language in the church that we use, to read the signs of the times. We need to adapt, to be more flexible. So if technology is really the way to reach them, we need to be able to also be knowledgeable about and not only knowledgeable, but be able to use the existing technology, to like the social media. And this is being done as if we see the cardinal, the good cardinal Chito Tagle, being able to reach out to so many people, young and old,
Yes.
by using the internet platform, giving his homily through social media, and being able to reach out to many people possible. So, and so even me, I use Facebook as a platform for bringing positive messages to people. So it's not just the personal messages, but we can make most out of it by utilizing this platform. Even for campaigns, by the way, even
Yes.
for campaigns. We do campaigns on climate change, for agrarian reform, for environment, against mining and all. And this is being done very effectively through media. As I've said, we become one community. It's one community through social media.
It's great to hear that. But one of the things we've seen, and this started leading up to the political elections, not the campaigns that you're talking about. In the campaigns, there seemed to have been a lot of anger unleashed to the point that it's quite different. It seems to be the character of the Filipino seems to be different. There's so much anger and hate online. How do you deal with that? How can we deal with that?
Yes, I think part of that is the element of being able to be responsible in the use of our freedom. Because as one of the important positive contribution of media is that things are democratized. We are
Yes.
able to really ventilate what we want to say for all the world to see.
Right.
But at the same time, given this freedom, it would also entail responsibility. And that's what is lacking. I think if we have this freedom to express ourselves, and I think you very well know that being a media personality and engaged in media platform, that with responsibility, with freedom comes great responsibility. And this is something that I think people are not really that ready to take on. And that's why we need some moral and ethical guidelines even on how to use the social media so that it will serve the positive purpose.
Very interesting. How will the church in the Philippines, how will you, for example, transform online?
I think there are already efforts along these lines, as there are talks or forums already conducted on how can we possibly make use of social media in the church, but responsibly using it. I think for many students, these courses have been already taught, and even in our homilies, we provide some guidelines on how can we possibly make use of these things.
The tech futurists say that the more tech grows, the more people are going to need to look for meaning. And I go for meaning for faith in religion. I mean, how do you see faith evolving in the Philippines? How will you speak to this generation?
For Filipinos, I think we are deeply religious. This is part of our culture. Even for young people, they grow up inside the confines of the church. Even when during my growing age period, I grew up in the church, and I think that's the reason why I become a priest. But this is religiosity of the Filipinos very much cultural in a way. This is very much part
Yes.
of the culture. So I think the challenge is that how are we able to continue to also see the relevance of our faith even in the things that we do, even in work, even in our engagements. And that's the problem is sometimes we always kind of separate our faith to life, and that should not be the way. So faith should always direct our search for meaning, and faith should always provide that powerful conviction for us to do the right thing. And this is crucial, particularly in the era of technology, and how we bring faith, and also not only that, but to utilize the media, not only the social media, but even theater, even
Yes.
recently we had this very good movie, Ignacio de Loyola.
Yes.
And in terms of trying to provide venue for people to reflect deeper meaning of life, I think this is one good material. So I think the church needs to be more exploring in how we employ and utilize that media, not only not only television and internet, but also even the print media for our work and for our advocacy.
You mentioned social justice. You mentioned that there's a culture that religion, that faith is part of our culture here. But again, it seems like so many things are changing fast in our country. I mean, Cardinal Tagle made a statement about the I guess in 3 months or the beginning of, so in 2 months' time, we're starting the 3rd month of the war on drugs. We've had more than 2,000 people killed, or more than 2,000 people killed. And yet, most Filipinos seem to say it's okay because it's part of the war on drugs. And the second part is that anger is mirrored online. Are we changing?
That's still also a puzzle to me because as far as I'm concerned, I could not really rationalize the magnitude of killings happening all around. I think we need to have some kind of moral anger, but that's still, I'm still, yes, it's really a surprise that people get so, I mean, they do not even care. But I think one, the way I see it, I think people are so desperate to find solution to problem. But this is not the way we know. But sometimes, when people are so desperate,
Yes.
they accept whatever possible
Right.
to solve the problem. But we need to, as a Christian country, I think this is not, to say that this is not acceptable. Yes, you need, and we need to confront head on the issue of drugs and criminality and all. But this is not the way to do it. And I think we, as part of the church, would have also some responsibility in that. I think we need to speak out. And like the good cardinal, we need to exercise our prophetic mission. And to be a prophet means to say things even though it's not really attractive to the powers that be. But we need to say straightly, call a spade if necessary. And if it's really not really morally acceptable, we need to say, we need to say it.
I'd love to hear your best and worst case scenarios. It seems again to me that this is a pivotal moment for our country. A lot of things are definitely changing. What's your best and worst case scenario given the technology and given events in the Philippines today?
The best in the present government, or
I guess that what you would like to see happen in the future. What are you working towards? I know it's very broad, no? But in terms of where we are, so we just talked about the killings that are accepted by a larger majority. I mean, the best case scenario, the technology that also helps foment hatred, but also has good points, really good points. So if we can utilize this for the good, what is your best case scenario?
I think I pray for the best case scenario to stop the killing. That's first and foremost. I think we need to be able to find a solution to this problem, but not this violent track that the present administration is doing. So I pray for that, and that's the best scenario that in terms of the human rights and HK killings. But on other larger perspective, I think I'm positive about what is happening now in the Philippines in terms of the pro-poor agenda of the present government.
Yes.
So the best case scenario, and it's already happening, and I because I'm being part of this, is that the voices of the most marginalized can be heard, and welfare and the good of the people, of the poor particularly, would really be considered and addressed. So I'm talking also about the issue of agrarian reform, for example.
Yes.
We see that the present government is really taking the side of the marginalized very seriously.
Yes.
And on the issue of environment, I have just been, that's why I was not here yesterday. I attended a consultation with the DENR, and I think there are many positive things happening. Because one best scenario that I want to see, being an environmentalist myself, is that we stop destroying our forests and we stop giving all our minerals for free to the foreigners. So we need to take care of the environment. And the best case scenario that I have for the present government is that finally we have a government that is protecting and caring for the environment with the present administration and the DNR. It's already happening, and
Your advocacies are Gina Lopez's advocacy.
yeah. I was with her yesterday.
Yes.
So and we work closely together also.
Yes.
That's one thing positive. So aside from the AJK, I think we are moving into a different path that the previous governments did not take on. So this is something good. But yeah, of course, we cannot just close our eyes to the other reality.
In terms of capturing this generation, you, Father Edu, I mean, how are you capturing their imagination? How are you getting them to do a lot of you work with volunteers? How are you able to capture this generation?
Young people are generally idealistic. So I think we work on that. We try to utilize this hidden energy among the young people. So because that's also the way that I was attracted to this kind of work. I mean, you provide them with something that they can derive meaning from, something meaningful. We offer we volunteer program for people who would like also to work with us, even for free. So the volunteers can give their time for some worthy cause. And even for those who are into environmental issue,
Yes.
These are young people really campaigning, giving their time for free, because they believe this is they believe in the cause. This is something worth doing, and I think this is again a kind of search for meaning, what is relevant and what is meaningful. And I think if we can provide venues for meaningful engagement, I think
Yes.
young people would come.
You talked about social media. We also espouse social media, but any solutions? What's the way forward so that the anger can be tamped down and it can become again a venue for meaningful conversation?
We need more media institutions like Rappler. And because yes, actually, sometimes the mainstream media are not helping to correct it or to rectify the situation. And sometimes they are even instrumental in really inviting people to become that way. So I think we need to also have a responsible media to observe the minimum requirement for ethics, so to say, and also this is also part of our responsibility in the church to also conscientize people to bring in positive messages instead of hatred.
Father Edu, in terms of a message for the youth now on social media, so much of what you do is about trying to bring people together. What would you like to tell our millennials who actually now have this newfound freedom and are online and are empowered? What can they do? What would you like them to do?
There are so many ways that they can engage actually. And the invitation for us is to really get involved and do to get things right. This morning I was listening to a good rendition of musical from not really youth but children.
Yes.
They're playing Michael Jackson's "Heal the World," make it a better place. So I think that's my message to the youth. I think this is the earth or the world that you'll be inheriting. So you might as well start trying to work and heal the world and make it a better place in whatever way you can. And this is for the good of the community. This is for the good of the country.
And then I'm very curious now about how you see the Catholic Church evolving, given this technology, given a new political reality. How is the Catholic Church going to help us with our faith and help us find meaning?
That's really the great challenge for the church. We somehow we are trained to be very traditional in a way, but we can remain to be traditional, but at the same time, hand in hand, we need to really adapt and be more flexible, even in adapting new ways of communicating to people. We cannot retain the same dogmatic kind of style. People are more interactive, so to say. So
Yeah.
we need not to be more imposing of our positions because there will always be, venue for dialogue, and it's more convincing by doing that. So I think this style would need to change, even the way we preach. Even the way I preach, I try to do it more by storytelling, and so that people can relate and it can be more interesting. It can be more interactive even in the way we talk. So we bring the good news, and we try to make it as much as possible really good, even in the way we deliver it.
Fantastic. Your last thoughts, Father Edu, on where you want to take Caritas in the future?
Yeah, that still is also a challenge for us. We are now we are celebrating, by the way, the 50th anniversary of NASA Caritas Philippines. NASA is the National Secretariat for Social Action. So we want to continue serving the people, not just the Catholic population, by the way, because we serve regardless of faith. So we try to become really of service to the needy, particularly the neglected. And this is a challenge for us. We dream of a church that is really for the poor and doing everything to help the needy.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope that more, I can't say more power, I know God. This is something we all have a stake in. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
so
you,
much,
Maria.
Father Edu.
Thank you.
We've been speaking with Father Edwin Gariguez, the Executive Secretary, and he's the Country Program Head of Caritas in the Philippines. Are you on Twitter, Father?
Yes,
Facebook.
me too.
What's your
Facebook and
account?
Twitter, yes.
Your Twitter account is?
I forgot. But
He's there. Father Edu, he's on Twitter. So
it's
tweet
Earth
your
Jedi.
questions.
Earth Jedi.
Art Jedi.
Art
So
Jedi.
the good,
Yeah.
definitely not the dark side. So,
Yeah.
so tweet him. He's there
Art
online
Jedi.
for you. Art Jedi. Tweet us your questions. Faith, meaning in a world where technology is taking off. So these are questions we're going to follow in the coming days. I'm Maria Ressa. Thank you for joining us. We went the whole